Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the incredible quirks, glitches, and the hidden powers of the human brain. Everything we're unpacking today comes straight from the newly declassified Unit 4 archives. We're going to explore how our minds process reality, how ancient evolution is still pulling our strings, and ultimately, how your deepest beliefs can literally rewrite your physical biology.
So let's just get right into it. Have you ever wondered if a totally inert sugar pill, or maybe just a quick warning from your doctor, could actually physically alter your biology? I mean, it sounds like straight up magic, right? But as you'll see throughout this explainer, especially when we hit the absolute core of today's focus later on, your brain literally houses its own internal pharmacy. But, well, before we can understand how the mind heals the body, we first need to look at how the mind even constructs our reality in the first place.
Section 1. Glitches in our reality.
To really grasp the mind's ultimate power, we kind of have to shatter our basic trust in objective reality first. We have to look at how the brain fundamentally misprocesses the world around us. Take the Mandela Effect, for example. It's absolutely crazy to think about this. It's a collective false memory where millions of people vividly remember the Monopoly man wearing a monocle, or those children's books being spelled Berenstain Bears with an E. Neither of those things ever actually existed. No way, right? Now compare that to déjà vu, which, unlike the Mandela Effect, is a temporary individual processing delay rather than a massive collective error.
So, the crucial takeaway here is that your brain is constantly buffering reality. According to dual processing theory, information usually hits your conscious mind and your long-term memory centers at the exact same time. But if there's even a millisecond desynchronization in the brain's timing, well, the information hits your temporal lobe and registers as a memory a tiny fraction of a second before you're fully aware it's even happening. Your brain literally glitches, making a brand new experience feel exactly like a rerun.
And looking at this comparison, you really start to see how our brain acts as a biological virtual reality, especially when we sleep. You know, in a standard dream, you're just a passive observer, zero logic, zero control. But during a lucid dream, a specific part of your brain called the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex actually reactivates while you're still completely asleep. This gives you high lucidity. Basically, you gain conscious self-awareness and can actively modify the dream's physics and content. It's wild. It proves our brains are absolutely capable of rendering completely convincing simulated realities from scratch.
Section 2. The evolutionary puppet strings.
Now, even when our brain isn't glitching out or simulating dreams, it's still being pulled by these ancient evolutionary puppet strings that dictate our daily behavior. Take nyctophobia, the fear of the dark. We humans lack that reflective layer in our eyes that nocturnal predators have, which makes us extremely vulnerable at night. To compensate for this, when you're in low light, your amygdala instantly triggers a state of hypervigilance. It cranks up your hearing and forces your brain to aggressively seek out familiar patterns. This is exactly why you might mistake a coat rack in a dark room for an intruder. Your brain is prioritizing false positives. Basically, it would rather you be terrified of a shadow than miss a real threat. It's an ancient, built-in, better safe than sorry protocol.
And you know what? This evolutionary repurposing also happens with things we actually enjoy. Have you ever gotten sudden chills or goosebumps from a soaring vocal or a sick beat drop in a song? That phenomenon is actually called frisson. It's triggered by an acoustic surprise that violates your brain's expectations. At first, your brain interprets this sudden change as a mild threat, but the second your auditory cortex realizes it's just beautiful music, it converts that adrenaline-like startle response into pure euphoria, flooding your brain with dopamine. So those musical goosebumps, they're literally just repurposed ancient thermoregulation pathways reacting to sound. We also love to think of romance as this mystical, purely social concept, right? But honestly, it's a rigid neurochemical algorithm completely designed for species survival. Stage 1, lust, is driven by testosterone and estrogen to encourage reproduction. Simple enough. But stage 2, attraction, floods your brain with dopamine and norepinephrine while deliberately dropping your serotonin levels. That literally causes the obsessive euphoric thinking you get with a new crush. Finally, stage 3, attachment, releases oxytocin to lock in long-term trust and cooperative child-rearing. But we really have to be careful here, because these exact same powerful biological drives can easily be hijacked. Cult psychology absolutely weaponizes these mechanisms against us. By using love bombing, cults trigger that exact same dopamine-rich attraction phase we just talked about, creating a sense of artificial belonging. Once they've got you hooked, they use the bite model, regulating behavior, information, thought, and emotion, to entirely bypass critical thinking. And when the cult's predictions inevitably fail, members experience intense cognitive dissonance. They'll actually double down on the narrative to protect their own identity rather than admit they were wrong.
Section 3. The speed of intuition. Now that we've seen how neurochemistry drives our behavior, just look at this staggering processing gap. Right now, your conscious mind, the part of you listening to me and focusing on the screen, is processing about 40 to 50 bits of information per second. Pretty good, but your subconscious system, it's handling a mind-boggling 11 million bits of information per second. It's not even close.
This incredible discrepancy in processing power is exactly what creates intuition. You see, intuition isn't magic. It is high-speed pattern matching. Your subconscious identifies a highly complex pattern and uses somatic markers, like a sudden racing heart or weird gut feeling, to alert your conscious mind that a decision needs to be made. But as you can see, these rapid mental shortcuts or heuristics do come with risks. Relying on immediate emotion to judge a situation can lead to the affect heuristic, where emotional interference just completely overrides objective logic. We are essentially trading accuracy for pure speed.
Section 4.
Placebo versus nocebo effects. Okay, so we've zoomed in from reality glitches down to subconscious neurochemistry, which brings us to the absolute core of our explainer today. This is Lesson 5 from the archives. Notice the psychosomatic bridge we're looking at here. This is absolute proof that your mind doesn't just passively perceive your physical health, it literally creates it. The placebo effect happens when positive expectation and trust in an inert treatment, like a sugar pill, causes actual physical healing. But right across from that is its dark twin, the nocebo effect, where pessimism and the expectation of harm cause a patient to experience genuine, debilitating physical symptoms from a totally harmless substance. So, the really crucial point here is how this actually works mechanically inside your brain's internal pharmacy. Look closely at the neurological triggers. When you experience the placebo effect, your sheer optimism triggers your brain to physically release opioids and dopamine. It is literally medicating you from the inside. It reduces pain and actually accelerates your recovery. On the flip side, if you experience the nocebo effect, your anticipatory anxiety triggers the release of cortisol and CCK. This severely heightens your pain sensitivity and creates genuine, measurable physical distress. Your belief literally becomes your biology.
And you know, this brings up a fascinating modern dilemma. Information hazards. Has a doctor's warning ever made you feel worse? I know it has for me. In modern medicine, doctors provide informed consent by warning patients of all possible side effects. But simply hearing that a medication might cause nausea or headaches, that can trigger the nocebo effect, meaning the warning itself actively harms your biology. By simply informing you, the doctor might inadvertently cause the exact symptom they were trying to warn you against. The mind's contribution to healing or harming is an unavoidable variable in human biology.
Section 5. The civilizational future. So if our beliefs alter our biological reality so profoundly, how does this shape humanity's trajectory as we transition into an advanced, Type 1 civilization? Well, the archives suggest the human mind is our absolute ultimate frontier. The goal is no longer just accidental healing, but conscious biosomatic engineering, intentionally harnessing that placebo effect to optimize our biology. We're talking about engineered soundscapes that use the mathematics of frisson for rapid stress recovery. Researchers are even studying near-death experiences, analyzing out-of-body awareness during cardiac arrest to figure out if consciousness is actually localized in the brain. Because if it is, the ultimate goal of civilizational advancement is mind uploading, digitizing human consciousness itself.
So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought regarding our evolutionary future. We've seen how our brains glitch out, how ancient evolution controls our deep desires, and how profoundly our beliefs rewrite our physical bodies. As artificial sentience approaches and we look to merge with our technology, who will ultimately control the incredible power of your mind? Will we finally master the psychosomatic bridge, or will we just become passengers in our own biology? Thank you so much for exploring the archives with me today. Keep questioning your reality.